And the first scratch we're going to look at is called the forward. It's a pretty simple scratch. All you're doing is having the fader off so there's no noise, queuing up your record, bringing it in, and then cutting it out when the noise has stopped, and then you rewind. And that's all there is to the forward. So you can play around with that, different lengths and all sorts of things. You can even slow it up and speed it down. That would be called a drag, but it's all variations on a forward. Another variation is to go backwards, and that's all there is to the forward. So it sounds a bit like this. And there you go. Right, this scratch is called the baby scratch. It's pretty much the first scratch anyone will try and do when they have a go on the decks. And all it is you take your sample and you just move back and forwards, move the record back and forwards with your hand. And if you do that to some kind of rhythm, you got the baby scratch. And that's all there is to that one. Right, this scratch that we're going to look at is called the chirp. With the chirp, we're going to use the same sample that we've been using so far. So the red sticker marks the beginning of the noise. Good old R noise. Basically, we're going to go back and forwards with our record hand, with the fader in the middle. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut the noise just as we pull back with our hands. So what we're doing is we're cutting out the change in direction, the noise of the change in direction. So we go forwards, cut it, pause, and then bring it back straight away at the same time. If you do that quickly, you get a chirp. You can do that at different rhythms. And that's the chirp for you. Right, this scratch is called the flare. And what we do with the flare, we're using the same sample. And it's the same kind of motion again, back, forwards, back, forwards, back, forwards. Only this time, we're gonna start with the fader open in the middle, so you can hear it. And as we move forwards, we're just gonna chop the sound in the middle. And then the same on the, as we go back. So if you start moving as you bring the deck forwards, it's like that kind of movement. Just cutting out a little piece of the sound with the fader in the middle of the movement. And that's the flare. That's what it sounds like. You can mix that with the one we've just done, which is the chirp. And you can start playing with your first combo. Right, this scratch we're going to do is called the crescent flare. What we do with that is, it's a bit like the ordinary flare, but this time we start with the fader closed, and you bring the sound in twice forwards, so then twice back. Basically, it's like a flare, only it comes straight back on itself, so it's like 2 forwards, then 2 back straight away, without the... You don't hear the change in direction of the record like on a flare. This is just straight 2 forward, 2 back. So, forwards, cut it in twice, and return to closed position, then straight away, do exactly the same in reverse, so... And that's the original flare. Like that. Right, the next scratch we're going to look at is called the original flare. And the scratch we just did, the crescent flare, it kind of follows on from that scratch. as you remember, if you skip back, you'll see that it's 2 forward, 2 back. And the movement is just chop it on, chop it off twice like that. With the original flare, it's 2 forwards and 1 back real quick, so it's like... basically, so the motion is start with a closed fader, go forwards, and bring it in twice quickly, so... and then you'll end up with a closed fader, and then you just bring it out to the middle and whip it back, so... with a beat. You can start to combo that with the ones you've done before, like present. Basically like that, and that's your original flare.